quiz. What is the fastest, healthiest way to release fat from the body? Do you have a guess? I'll tell you the answer. Eating clean. And if you're not clear on what eating clean means, come on along. Welcome back to the JoLynn Braley Show. Today is episode number 333. The topic, Day 2 of Eating Clean. Possible pitfalls, mayhem, and obstacles you might run into during Day 2 of Eating Clean. Welcome back to the JoLynn Braley Show. Today is episode number 333 of the show. The topic is all about continuing this special series that I'm doing on eating clean. I am JoLynn Braley, permanent weight loss coach. I'm the founder of the Inner Self Diet, the diet that is critical if you want to finally stop struggling with your eating and your weight. Now, what's interesting is the Inner Self Diet is not a food diet, but here I am doing this series on eating clean. How do those two come together? If I am coaching amazing coaching clients through the Inner Self Diet, which gives them struggle-free weight loss in 8 weeks or less, then why would I be talking about and sharing with you here on my free weight loss podcast? Why would I be sharing about clean eating? Well, here's why. What is the purpose of getting struggle-free with food and your weight? Why would you ever want to do the Inner Self Diet? Because in the end, you have to change your eating. You've got to change your lifestyle. You've got to change your habits of what you're eating, how much you're eating, how often you're eating. You've got to make the physical changes if you want to have physical changes on your body. Now, 92.8% of what makes it easy to make those physical changes is your mindset. That's the work that I do with my coaching clients in the Inner Self Diet. Okay, are you following me? So when you've got a weight loss mindset, when you have addressed your inner saboteurs, when you have your head in the right place, then it's no big deal to do the things that you've got to do to change how you eat, what you eat, how much you're eating, all of that. All right? 7.2% of getting to your goal weight has to do with the physical plan, the healthy lifestyle plan, eating and exercise. That's 7.2% of it. It is no struggle to do that when you have addressed your inner self, when you have your mind in the right place, when you have your emotional state in the right place, which is all going to be led by what you're thinking. It all starts with your mindset. Okay, you can have the healthiest eating plan in the world, but how can you ever take action with it if you're walking around constantly telling yourself that you're too lazy, you're too fat, weight loss never works for you, it only works for other people, not for you, and you can't lose weight? That is mindset stuff. And if you have a fat mindset, your behaviors will be fat, and then you'll get the results with your weight because of your eating. All right? It all works together. When you get a weight loss mindset, when your thoughts become fit, healthy, strong, slender, thin, when your thoughts become happy, prosperous, exciting, fun, empowered, healthy. When your thoughts, your mindset are in the right place, that changes your emotional state, which makes it easy to change your behaviors. And you've got to change your behaviors in order to get that physical weight off of your body and keep it off. Okay? Make any sense at all? A little bit? I know that if you have not heard this before, if you have been brainwashed by the mainstream diet industry like I was, then the way that you've always thought about weight loss has only been about the food and exercise. You haven't ever even considered that your head's getting in the way and your emotional state is getting in the way. How you think about yourself, how you think about your body, how you think about food, how you think about the whole process of change. You've never really considered that that is the real big bugaboo in your way. That's the big problem. Because if you didn't have that problem, what would be the big deal with making the changes that you need to make? You would just do it, right? And isn't that phrase, just do it, isn't that totally irritating when you're so stuck and you can't do it? But then if you roll on back to why you can't do it, it comes back to your mindset. Your mindset is the foundation of all of it, all of it, all of it. Change your mindset, change your mind. It becomes no struggle to change your body. Hey, before I get into day 2 of eating clean and the possible pitfalls, mayhem, and obstacles that you might run into, head on over to grab my free download at www.easyfunweightloss.com, www.easyfunweightloss.com. You'll get a couple free tips there that might give you some ahas on this whole topic of changing your mind to change your body. Okay? www.easyfunweightloss.com. So, day 2 of eating clean. What's this all about? First of all, today is episode number 333. If you want to go back to the beginning of this series, start with episode 330. That's where I shared, hey, can clean eating really end your binge eating? What's the correlation? And then on episode 331, I shared with you why the first 3 days of eating clean are so critical, why that's the critical zone, why you've got to get through the first 3 days, getting off the processed foods, okay, just eating whole, healthy, regular foods, eating clean. All right, that's on episode 331, the critical zone. And then on episode or during or in or on, however you want to say that, episode number 332, that one is about day 1 of eating clean. And day 1 is what's going to set you up for day 2 and day 3, and then what comes beyond that. You got to get through day 1, a full day of eating clean, in order to make it easier to get through day 2 and make it easier to get through day 3 and get that train of positive, healthy momentum flowing. All right? If you cheat on yourself and you're slipping processed foods into this mix, you're not eating clean and you're not accomplishing the goal of making it through the critical zone. And by the way, this is not about perfectionism. It's not about restriction. This is about choice. This is about choosing to get off of the processed foods and eating clean to allow your body to degunk, to deprocess itself of all of that unhealthy, gunked up, low metabolism type of food that is the processed food. All of that easy food that is highly sugared, highly salted, highly chemicaled. I don't think that's a word. It's got tons of chemicals in it, okay? preservatives, additives, and it makes it very addictive, and it keeps you coming back for more, but it doesn't help you lose weight. It doesn't make it easy. All right? And if your metabolism is shot because you've done so many fad diets, and on top of that, you always slide back to the processed foods, unfortunately, even if you cut back on processed foods, it will still be extremely difficult to get that weight off, or slower. Okay? Not necessarily impossible. Like, for example, if you were to eat only when physically hungry, but now we just wiped out 3/4 of the overeating population, because the overeating population, the binge eaters and the emotional eaters, which I understand because I've been there myself, you don't eat for physical hunger. Emotional eating and binge eating has nothing to do with physical hunger. So going back to what I was starting to say there, if you were able to eat only for physical hunger, and stop eating when you're physically full, you wouldn't be eating very much if all you were eating was processed foods, because you wouldn't be hungry very much, because that stuff slows your metabolism down so far that the physical hunger is not going to come up very often, unfortunately. Physical hunger is a good thing, by the way. It means that your engine is running. So if you were able to eat only when physically hungry and stop eating when physically full, and you were eating mainly processed foods, you would be able to start releasing fat from your body. You would be able to lose some weight. It would not be as fast, and it wouldn't give you as much energy and clarity of mind as eating clean. All right? So anyway, this series is about eating clean, because it's the one thing that I advocate for the physical side of the equation. By the way, I have another free download if you'd like to see my grocery list. If you are not clear with what I mean by eating clean, go over to grabmygrocerylist.com, www.grab, like I'm going to grab it, grabmygrocerylist.com. Download my free grocery list. All right? And it'll be really clear to you then what I mean by whole foods, what I mean by eating clean. You have to shop on the outer perimeter of the grocery store, and you got to cook. Okay? You got to change. It's totally worth it, especially once you get through that critical zone of the first 3 days of eating clean, and then especially past the first 2 weeks. Okay? Then you really start having so much more energy and clarity of mind, because you've gotten that gunked up processed food, those chemicals, all that stuff that's pulling you down right now. You've gotten it out of your system. So, what about the obstacles, the mayhem, the pitfalls that you could run into during day 2 of eating clean? And how is day 2 of eating clean different than day 1? Well, in my experience, day 2 of eating clean is easier than day 1, as long as you got through the first full day of eating clean. And remember my little positive procrastination process, my PPP. My positive procrastination process is, if at night you want to give in to your inner saboteurs and go eat stuff that is not eating clean, like go eat those cookies or go eat that pie or whatever it is that, the chips or whatever. My positive procrastination process is when you make a deal with yourself. You make the deal that, hey, I'm going to get through this whole frickin' day and night of eating clean, and I'm going to get myself in bed. And if tomorrow morning I still want to have whatever it is that I'm thinking about eating right now, I'll have it. I'll give it to myself. Now, you got to be willing to make this promise and follow through with it. All right? If you're like me and you do my PPP, my positive procrastination process, the next morning, you're not going to want whatever it was that you wanted the night before anyway. It will have passed. And you'll still be eating clean. Have your clean eating brekkie. Have your clean eating snacky when it's time. Have your clean eating lunchy. And you keep going. And then that night on day 2 of eating clean, if you have this same thing come up where you want to go stray and you want to sabotage yourself and you're thinking about eating other stuff that is not clean eating, do my PPP again. Procrastinate on it. Hey, I'll have it tomorrow morning if I still want it, but I'm getting through a full day and a full night of eating clean here on day 2. So that's actually a pitfall that can come up for you again on day 2. And it might come up for you every night or even during the day maybe until you really get going with eating clean. If you really want to do this though, you can. And like I have talked about in the other podcast episodes of this series, and I'm not going to go and reiterate everything that I have covered. You can go back and listen to those other episodes in this whole series, all right? Remember, starting with episode 330 and then 331 and then 332, okay? Today's 333, so you can listen to those other previous episodes. But just in general, the goal here is to get through the first full day of eating clean and then the second full day of eating clean and then the third full day of eating clean. And if you already have a weight loss mindset, it's not going to be that big of a deal. You will still likely have some physical addiction twinges, and then you can use my PPP to get through those. If you don't have a weight loss mindset, it will be much more difficult because then you're going to be fighting against all of your thoughts that you can't do this. And if you give in to those thoughts, then you got to get a weight loss mindset, okay? That is just foundational. That's 92.8% of achieving full success with your weight. Your mind is everything. There's no getting around it. And this is not something that is JoLynn's rule. It's just how it is. It's just how it is. Your mind leads your body. You don't have action if it doesn't first start with a thought. Okay? And yes, there is the physical component to all of this, which makes all of this complicated. The whole thing is kind of complicated. That's why if you really, really, really want to do this, get coaching, get help, get a system that works like what I do with my awesome coaching clients, the coaching that I've been doing with my inner self diet coaching clients since 2009. They are struggle-free with food and their weight in 8 weeks or less. That means that it's not a struggle for them to do what they need to do on the physical side with their eating and their exercise once they've got their mindset in the right place. Okay? You got to have that. Otherwise, what happens? You keep forcing yourself to do another diet, another food diet. You stick with it for a couple days, a couple weeks, maybe a couple months, and then what happens? What happens? If you don't have the foundation of the mindset, you're kind of behind the 8 ball before you ever get started. And that doesn't mean that you can't get started, and it doesn't mean that you can't lose weight. But what do you want in the end? Do you want to get to your goal weight, and do you want to maintain that? Do you want to have a real transformation where you live a healthy lifestyle and it's not a big frickin' deal? The only way that you have that is if you've got your mind on board with it. Okay? So back to day 2 of eating clean. Another pitfall that you could run into is if you didn't prep your healthy snacks and clean eating meals the night before. You got to make sure that you are stacking the deck in your favor so that you're all ready to go the next day. You really can't wing it, because the way that things are set up in our world, it's not set up to help you succeed with being healthy and fit. You have to take the action to cook up your clean eating snacks, to prep them, to bag them, to portion them out, whatever it is that you need to do. There are some things that you can sometimes buy in the grocery store. For example, I have seen vegetables that have no salt, nothing added, no kind of seasonings, nothing at all. And these vegetables are already cut up. So all you have to do is buy that bag or that container, and then you can steam them up. And that gives you the extra time of not having to cut them up and prep them yourself. For example, broccoli and cauliflower. All right. So you're going to pay extra for that convenience of buying a container of pre-cut plain broccoli and cauliflower. But that is something that is an option. All right. So there are things like that out there. A very, very, very simple snack that I rely on is fresh grilled plain chicken breast, and I just grill that on my outdoor grill, and baby carrots for a vegetable. And if I need a carb in that, I like plain rice cakes. Now, that might not sound very exciting, and it's not very exciting if you're also eating processed foods at the same time that are highly addictive. But if you're eating clean and you've gotten off the processed foods, that's an awesome snack. At least to me it is. I really like it. And that's a go-to snack that I would have if I'm out running errands. But you have to also prep in advance for something like that, because you're not going to be able to go into 7-Eleven and find that. I think I might have seen little chicken breast strips in 7-Eleven before, but they're not like what I grill on my grill. They've got sugar and other stuff added to them. That's not eating clean. Okay? What's another pitfall or obstacle that you could run into on day 2 of eating clean? Well, obviously, your mindset. Obviously. If you get into depressive thinking depressive thoughts, thinking depressing thoughts like, oh, I'm 150 pounds overweight. It'll take forever for me to get to, 140. I'm just throwing a number out there. I don't know who you are who's listening. I don't know what's healthy for you. I'm all about health and fitness, not about being skinny and weak. Okay? Having a healthy body fat percentage, having a healthy, strong body. And you can look great in your jeans at the same time. There's nothing wrong with that. Look your best. Show up as your best. Feel good in your own skin, at your healthiest weight. At your healthiest weight with your healthiest body fat percentage. With healthy muscle tone, okay? Are you following me? So if you're sitting there, though, thinking depressing, defeatist thoughts like, it'll take forever for me to lose weight, who cares? Why don't I just go get some takeout food right now? Well, that's part of the problem. That's a big part of the problem right there. And then if you follow through with the behavior of that kind of thinking, what's going to happen? What's going to happen? Obviously, you're not going to get through a day of eating clean. And then you're not going to have a streak going of 3 days in a row. And if you don't get through those first 3 days, how can you ever get through a full week and break that addiction to that processed food. You know what, by the way, you know what the big addiction is? The really big addiction? It's the addiction to feeling bad. The addiction to feeling bad. And where would the addiction of feeling bad come from? It starts with your thinking. You can't feel bad emotionally if you're not thinking thoughts that are making you feel bad. And I'm not saying live in la la land, okay? I'm not saying that you sit there and you think positive thoughts while your house is burning down around you. That's not very smart. I'm saying that you have to cultivate, and this takes practice. You've got to have tools to do this. You've got to have a recipe to follow to get a weight loss mindset. You need a recipe. You need exercises. You need homework. You need help. You need support. You need accountability. All right? It can be a challenge to change your mindset. But if you change your mindset and you get good at it, you practice it, you get better at it, you notice when you're going back into the old boggy, negative mindset. And then you use your tools, you use your inner self tools, and you get your head back on the right track. It gets to a point where it's not any big deal to do the healthy lifestyle stuff. Okay? So if you can get through a full second day of eating clean, then the next day is day 3 of eating clean. And I'll come back and share with you tomorrow more possible pitfalls, obstacles, and mayhem that might ensue during day 3 of eating clean. But guess what? Before you can do day 3, you've got to do day 1. And then you've got to do day 2. All right? And if you are as stuck as I have been before, I know how impossible it can sound to even get through one day of eating clean because you're so caught up in the thinking part of the problem, the mindset part of the problem, but also the food addiction part of the problem. And it's a pattern and it's a habit and it's easy to stay in it the longer you do it. And the longer that you tell yourself that tomorrow will be the day that you'll finally make some changes. And then tomorrow comes and it's today. And then today is again the day that you're telling yourself, tomorrow will be the day that I'll really get it together. Tomorrow, no, oh boy, tomorrow is Friday. That's not going to be good. I'll wait till Monday. And then Monday comes. And then it turns into another tomorrow. And then tomorrow's no good because it's Tuesday and you already blew it. So you got to wait until next Monday. You know how many years can go by doing that? And how fast that happens? And then what kind of results do you actually get with this whole weight loss thing that you say you want to do? You know? You know what I mean, Jean? If you want help, if you're ready to change, if you're fed up and frustrated with never getting to where you say you want to be, and if it makes sense to you that you got to address this mindset piece, it's the missing piece that you have never taken care of. And it might just be because you never realized how big of a problem it is, because the mainstream diet industry tells you that all you need is a new food diet. You were doing it wrong. Your food diet was wrong. Do this one instead. This will fix it. How many times have you done that? Don't you already have a healthy eating plan that has worked for you in the past? But now you just can't get yourself to do it. And you might say you don't have any motivation to lose weight. Well, guess what? You don't have any motivation to lose weight because you don't have a weight loss mindset. Okay? Is this making any sense? A little bit? If you're fed up and frustrated with all of this stuff, You're tired of asking yourself, why am I so smart and successful and I've got all these wonderful things in my life, but I'm still sabotaging myself when it comes to weight loss. I'm still struggling with this whole food and weight topic, and I don't want to do it anymore. If you're serious about making real change and you'd love my help to do it, then go over to www.discovery-session.com. That's www.discovery-session.com. Enter your first name and email on the next page. Click through to fill out the complete application, which is an application for a complimentary weight loss discovery session with me over the phone. Let's see if we can get on the phone, and let's see if or how I might be able to help you achieve struggle-free weight loss in 8 weeks or less. We don't know right now unless we actually talk about it. And we won't talk about it unless you fill out that application for the complimentary weight loss discovery session. And you won't fill out the application for the complimentary weight loss discovery session if you don't first go to www.discovery-session.com. Start there if you really are serious about ending this struggle with food and your weight. All right? And if you'd like to have some hope, if you'd like to hear other people's experience with changing their mindset, hear them share what their eating was like before they ever met me, before they ever did the Inner Self diet, hear them tell you in their own words how stuck they were, how depressed they were, how defeated they felt, and then hear them tell you in their own words what happened for them, what changed for them from doing the Inner Self diet. Just search in the JoLynn Braley Show for the words real results. Those two words, real results. And you should be able to find my special series that I did. It's called Real Results from the Inner Self Diet. It's a short series of interviews of some of my coaching clients I've worked with over the years. Obviously, I'm not going to do a series with everybody in it because I've got to do other podcast episodes too. But there's a couple of them there. You can listen to them and pick out whichever ones resonate with you. You know, if you're struggling with binge eating, then listen to Holly. That's somebody who comes to mind right now. In fact, you could probably even search in the JoLynn Braley Show for her name, Holly, and you might be able to find that interview. Once again, the title of that special series is Real Results from the Inner Self Diet, and you should be able to find it just by searching for those two words, Real Results. And if you want my help to get your own struggle-free weight loss, head on over to www.discovery-session.com. Get started there. I'm JoLynn Braley, permanent weight loss coach, founder of the Inner Self Diet. I'll be back with you on episode 334 of the JoLynn Braley Show when we'll talk about day 3 of eating clean. As always, I wish you your best life living inside of your ideal body.